Camp Chronicles podcast. We're on to episode 10 and the final episode of 2024.
Oh, it's crazy.
The years just went by so fast, and can you believe we've filmed 10 episodes already? We thought we would round off the year, that we would do an essentials that we take to camp. We asked over on our Instagram page what your essentials were as well for returning counsellors. So we're going to mention them. We had a lot of similar on our lists as well.
Yeah. Let's start off with a big one as well. I feel like a lot of people are in a bit of a suitcase versus backpack debate. Where do you stand on, do you take a suitcase or do you take like a big backpack when you go to camp?
Even though I've had a horror story for suitcases, I'm still suitcase through and through. I think the back pain of carrying a bag's just not for me. Even though I take a backpack that's 10 times the size of us.
Do you take like big suitcase, little suitcase and a backpack?
No, because I think travelling, that would cost an absolute fortune. And I have also downsized my suitcase this year from one that's so big to quite a small one, because I think that makes me pack the essentials and not overpack. But what I do is I take a suitcase, the one that goes under the plane, and then I take a travel backpack, not a big one where people go travelling with. It's like a cabin-sized backpack.
Yeah.
And then I managed to fit a lot of stuff in there, which helps me so that if my suitcase was to go missing, I've got the main things that I need in that backpack.
That's a good way to do it. But unfortunately for me, I still, even after 3 summers, always manage to overpack. Although actually, I don't think that it is overpacking because I always use everything that I bring with us pretty much. But I'll take a big suitcase for going under the plane. Then I also take a little travel suitcase, cabin one, and then I'll also have my backpack. But I think the main problem for me is that I always bring a lot of pairs of shoes, and that's why I end up needing that extra space. But next year I really want to try and just do it with the one suitcase, because like you said, when you're traveling after camp, have a lot of airlines it's not like when you travel internationally, it's just included. It's like traveling with Ryanair where you've got to pay for every single little added extra. So yeah, I think hopefully next year I'll manage to do it without the little suitcase. But if anyone's thinking of bringing a backpack, you should probably try and weigh up some pros and cons. I know there's a few people, like my friend Stephen, he brings a backpack when we go travelling afterwards, and literally watching him struggle to lean over the back of the bed and hoist his backpack on, and then he obviously also has his hand luggage one, so he has a backpack on the front as well. It just looks way too painful for my liking. I tell you, the only time that I sometimes think, oh, it would be easier to have a backpack is when you navigate in the subway, because not every subway station has got lifts, and none of them really, well, many, I don't know, any that have escalators, so you pretty much have to just firm it with the stairs. So that's the only downside. I mean, America's pretty accessible, I would say, so wheeling a suitcase around is easy enough. The only time it's annoying is if you're getting on and off the subway or some sort of transportation like that. That's the only downside, in my opinion.
I totally agree. I remember I was getting off the subway, and this guy saw me pulling my suitcase off the subway, and he offered to carry it all the way up the stairs, and I said yes because I knew I wasn't going to be able to carry it up the stairs. And then I was thinking to myself, when I got halfway up there, he could absolutely leg it with my full suitcase here.
God.
So no, I totally agree with navigating the subway and having a suitcase. It can be annoying when there isn't a lift or an elevator.
100%. So I think realistically we're both team suitcase here. So
Team
I mean,
suitcase.
there are people that find backpacks easier, but we're definitely team suitcase through and through.
Definitely. Talking about backpacks and suitcases, let's talk about the organisation of your suitcase and backpack. I think it's so important for packing cubes. This was actually something I forgot to add to my list, but Ryan and Kirsten on Instagram reminded me and you of it. And I live by, you have to take packing cubes. I feel like you can fit more in. It's easier to organise your suitcase. It's easier for travelling around. I mean, in my first summer, my suitcase actually broke. I think I've mentioned this story before.
Yeah, you did.
And I was trying to wheel it towards the bunk, and this was the first time me and my director actually had an interaction with each other, me and Wendy, and she had to help me carry my suitcase across the grass. But as I was pulling the suitcase across the grass to start with, when I said I didn't need any help, Or like my suitcase bust open and literally I had two things wrapped around it to try and keep it together. It bust
Oh.
open and I just had packing cubes just like dotted all across the grass. But imagine if that was like dirty laundry or like
Oh.
it was just clothes that were just put in the suitcase and I didn't have packing cubes, I would have been traumatized.
Yeah, if you had like all your like underwear and your socks and stuff were
Yeah.
just like in a row all the way across.
As me and my director were carrying it across. Oh, traumatized.
That'd be so bad. But yeah, I'm also a massive advocate for packing cubes. Like, I actually don't know what I'd do without them. As bad as like random as that sounds, like it makes my suitcase so much more organized. And like you said, it feels like it's so much easier to fit stuff in because you can just like. I don't have them, but you can get those like packing cubes that have the extra zip around it that like compacts everything down even more. But yeah, every single thing in my suitcase goes in a packing cube pretty much. And then also when I actually get to camp, I don't even take my clothes out of the packing cubes. I don't know if that's like weird, but our cubbies are like wooden, and like I'm always worried that there'll be like a splinter or something, a little splinter of wood, and I'll like try to pull out a bit of clothing and it'll like catch on it and I'll get a rip in it or something. So and it also keeps it more organized if I just keep everything in the packing cubes and just like unzip the little flap thing on the top and tuck it under. So yeah, live by packing cubes are the best things ever.
My first summer, I didn't take them out the packing cubes. But then the past couple of summers, because I like to wake up like literally 3 minutes before like I'm meant to be outside at
Oh.
line up, I decided to unpack them.
So another thing that was mentioned by Sophie as well, which I'm a proper advocate for, is if you bring like a little portable sort of like light up mirror. Like mine's not even that big, to be fair. It's maybe like the size of my hand. And it just like has like the little almost like a ring light and then the mirror on it. But mirror space is minimal at camp, isn't it? There's not a lot of space, and especially like being in the girls' cabins, everyone's fighting over that mirror space.
No, I totally agree, especially when like we have 5 minutes to get ready before like a night off and everybody like runs back to the bunk and there's like we have usually a mirror that's on like where the toilets are and then like a mirror above the sink. But when everybody's trying to get ready in front of them, it is a nightmare. But I've never actually packed one before, but I think I'm gonna take one for next summer now we've mentioned it.
Yeah. Well, my first summer, I don't think, or did I pack one? No, my first summer, I think I packed one and then it ended up smashing, like literally right before the end of camp. And then one of my kids actually left a mirror, like they just didn't take it with them. So I kept that one and took that for traveling afterwards with us. And then last year, I took like a much bigger, like fold out one that my mum had got us for Christmas. And then that ended up smashing at my camp reunion just before Manchester last year. So I was back onto another one, and this one, thankfully, is still going strong. So hopefully it'll last us another summer.
You've got I'm manifesting that it's gonna last you. You need to take it in bubble wrap. You
I
can, but
think
then
I
I
need to.
suppose that takes up more room in your suitcase.
There is that. Or like I usually put it in my little backpack, like my hand luggage one, because then it's less likely to like get smashed.
That's a good idea. Packing tips in a essentials packing video. Love that. Um,
Or
we mentioned this. Maybe it was last episode or the episode before that. How important it is to have shower flops.
mm-hmm.
Shower flip flops are like so important. You have to pack them. You can go to Primark. You can get them for £1. I actually left mine there from last year, but I'll probably just get a new pair because they're so
Yeah.
cheap. And in America, they actually have Primarks now as well. If you forget them,
Like we literally discussed this all in the previous episode, didn't we? Because we were saying about how like grimy the showers can get once you've had like I don't know like 10 or 15 people in showering before you. And I also did mention like shower flops being an essential, and then for me Crocs are an essential, or for you your Birkenstocks. And I think it's always a good idea if you do have the room to bring both, because like I said again last time, if you wear your Crocs in the shower, they get pretty waterlogged, and then you end up like trailing water all over the cabin after you've been in the shower, and it just gets gross quickly. So if you can have your shower flip flops, which are like you said, literally £1 from Primark, they're like the best ones to get. Wear them in the shower, and then you can switch into your Crocs or your Birks when you finish showering.
yeah. And we mentioned earlier on talking about shower flops, Birkenstocks, and Crocs and stuff. You mentioned earlier on how you overpack shoes.
Yep.
I think it's so important to get a comfortable, reliable pair of trainers, sneakers, running shoes, because my first summer I went cheap. I think I got a pair of like £45 Nike ones from Sports Direct, and honestly, like the soles of my feet and my back were in so much pain because I was walking around constantly doing like 20,000 steps a day, and I didn't have supportive shoes. So people always say like, go cheap because you're gonna probably store them away at the end of the summer. I think it's so important to go for like your reliable, comfortable pair of sneakers.
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 summers I bought like just plain white Air Force. They were my like pretty much everyday like shoes. But then I bought Hoka's this year, which were comfy, but they were kind of a weird green color, so they don't go with everything. So this is my problem. This is why I end up bringing too many pairs of shoes. And then I also had these like silver and blue Nike P6000s, which again, absolutely love. But then I didn't want to wear them for everything because I didn't want them to get totally ruined. So you need to find that kind of middle ground where it's like buying like shoes or bringing shoes, maybe even if they're a little bit older, but you know they're like comfortable and they'll last you. But also that you don't mind if they do get a little bit ruined.
I know I took 2 pairs of On Clouds last summer, but because during orientation it was so hot, and then we had like fast forward 6 weeks later and it was colour war and it was literally pouring down every single day. They got absolutely ruined. And now I left them at camp because I didn't want to put them in my suitcase and travel around with them. So I've left them at camp, and On Clouds are expensive. They're like £150. So I've left them there, and I'm hoping that if I can put them in the washing machine and kind of restore them a little bit, they'll be
They'll
good
be
for
fine.
next summer. Keeping my fingers crossed. That's if like a mouse hasn't ate them. But yeah, I just think it's so important to take them because you need that support when you're constantly on your feet. Because the last thing you want is the back pain, or the
Yeah.
feet pain.
And in my opinion, coming from a possible definite overpacker of shoes, I always think it's a good idea to bring 2 pairs of like everyday kind of trainers. Like I was saying, obviously I bought Air Force and then like my P6000s, which both I can kind of wear like on nights off and days off if I wanted to, but also could wear them at camp. And the reason for saying this is, like Summer said, obviously the weather can change a lot at camp. And for example, my first summer I had 10th grade and they do this insane trip to Orlando. So we flew into Orlando and we went straight to Universal. And if anyone's been to Florida, you know what the rain can be like in Florida. We got there and it chucked it down, like literally torrential rain for like ages. Like all the clothes were soaked through. My shoes were like squelching, like my Air Force was squelching with every single step I took. And I'm so glad that I had 2 pairs of shoes with us, because then obviously we were in a hotel room and there was like aircon blasting the whole time. My shoes didn't get a chance to dry. So if I'd only had that 1 pair of shoes, I would have had to been wearing like waterlogged shoes that would probably give us trench foot for the rest of the week. And again, the same thing can happen at camp. Like if it's really wet and rainy, like camp doesn't stop for the rain. If it's like lightning and it's dangerous, then it will stop. But if it's a bit of rain, camp's not necessarily going to stop. So if 1 pair of your shoes, if you accidentally leave them outside and they get waterlogged and drenched, you're going to want probably an extra pair that you can maybe wear the next day. So yeah, if you've got the space, that's a long-winded way of saying I would always suggest bringing 2 pairs of shoes.
It's always good to add a story to the reasoning, though, isn't it?
Yeah, then everyone knows that I'm not just like spouting a load of waffle. Well, I am waffling, but there's reason behind my suggestions.
Talking about the weather, I think it's so important to pack at least 5 comfortable pairs of like running shorts to go with your staff tops because it can get so hot outside. My first summer, I packed a lot of cycling shorts, and now in the heat, I find that cycling shorts become very irritating. So now I always go towards packing at least 5 comfortable running shorts, and I actually had to this summer, just gone. I had to take out at least I think 4 pairs because I think I packed about 12. And then when I was over there, I went to Woodbury Commons and they have like a really good sale in Lululemon. And I bought like loads more of them shorts, the hotty hot shorts, just to be like in with the cool kids.
Be
But
one of the campers.
that's it. My biggest tip in terms of shorts is like packing comfortable running shorts rather than cycling shorts. But again, that's just a personal preference.
That is something that I, this year, after 3 years, finally decided that I need to take on board. Like, I am a cycle shorts person through and through. Like, I just find them to be more comfortable. But then it just did get so hot this year that I was like, I'm gonna have to just get some like other like looser fitting shorts. But I just struggle to find ones that fit me right. Like, I can never get a happy balance of them, like, not to go into too much body deal, but I just can't ever get a happy balance of them being too tight or too loose and too long and too short. Like, I really struggle to find good ones. I've tried the Lululemon ones on before, and for the life of me I just can't get them to work. So I'm going to be doing some serious shopping before camp this year to try and find, for myself, I'm going to say at least 2 pairs, because I am still a cycle short girly through and through, but I need at least 2 pairs of like looser breathable ones for sure.
I think my top tip as well is, because if anybody's going to look on the Lululemon website now and they see £68 for a pair of shorts, don't do it. I went on to Vinted before the summer started, and I think I bought about 3 or 4 pairs of the Hottie Hot shorts, and I think I spent a total of £60 getting them. They were brand new with the tags on still. But just remember, the sizing on Lululemon is in the American sizing. That's my top tip. But Vinted, through like, definitely go on there, get some on there rather than spending so much money on them.
Vinted is actually great though, isn't it? This is Vinted, if you want to sponsor this, like, feel free. But Vinted is great, especially for like camp stuff, because some of the stuff that you'll need for camp is not stuff that you're going to necessarily own already. Like we're saying, like sports shorts and like just bits and bobs, or like extra other trainers and things like that. But you don't always want to go and spend like loads of money on them, because especially if you know they could be possibly getting ruined, or they might end up just getting left at camp because you don't have space in your suitcase to bring them back. So Vinted is a great place. Anywhere sort of second hand, to be fair. Charity shops are also good as well.
Totally. I second that.
Okay, so moving away a little bit from like the clothing and shoes and stuff like that, another big category of things that I like to bring is home comfort. And Brooklyn actually mentioned this one as bringing like chocolate from home. And it is an essential for me. Like when I went to camp this year, I went out like 5 days early, my mum and my sister, and we're in New York. And then I was there for about a week, I think, or 10 days before my boyfriend came out to camp. And I was messaging him, I was like, I need you to bring me crunchy rocks from home, like Cadbury's crunchy rocks. I was like, please, can you bring me some when you come over to camp, because like I need them. Like, chocolate in America is just not the same. Like, Hershey's, in my opinion, tastes like Parmesan cheese. I don't know if you found that as well, but it's just not the same, is it?
I think it tastes like vomit.
Yeah, it's just not, it's not great. Like, I will eat it because it's chocolate, and like obviously I need my chocolate, but I do like to bring chocolate from home because I'm a chocolate fiend. The only thing I will say with that though is to always check your camp's kind of dietary restrictions, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Because my camp is a nut-free camp. So obviously some of the kids, or even maybe like your co-counselors, you might think, oh, it's fine, like it's just like a hazelnut chocolate bar. So one of your kids in your bunk might have like a severe hazelnut allergy, or one of your co-counselors and stuff. So you need to be very careful. Like, if it is a nut-free camp, they'll always tell you at orientation, either eat it up before orientation starts, or kind of have it locked away in the staff room and don't eat it on camp. Take it off camp and eat it on your night off if you really want to. Do you bring chocolate, or is that just me?
So my first summer I didn't, and I was craving it so bad, and I got my gran to send me a parcel. This parcel ended up costing £90, may I add,
Oh my gosh.
because I needed a pair of pajamas, I needed a bra. I could have
Yeah.
bought all of this stuff there, but I just wanted the ones from home. And then I think I asked for like Kit Kats. I think I asked for breakaways. I don't know if you've ever had a breakaway. I
Yeah.
asked for Galaxy chocolate bars. I think I got some twirls, and the parcel actually got lost, and it was meant to be delivered to me like 2 weeks before it actually got to me. And then they left my parcel out on the girls' HC porch in the
Oh.
sunlight. So everything when I got there was melted.
Oh god.
And then, so I quickly ran to the cooking place, and they were really nice about it, like where the campers do the electives.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Don't worry, we'll put it in the fridge." So they put it in the fridge for us and like restored them like as
Thank
best
God.
that they could. But then my second summer, I took a packing cube full of chocolate. Honestly, I don't really think it lasted me past orientation. but I took a packing cube. This packing cube weighed 3 kilograms. The reason why my suitcase was overweight my second summer was because it was the 3 kilogram packing cube of chocolate in the suitcase.
I love that.
Again, barely lasted 5 minutes there because you just need it so much. And then I went to Florida my second summer with my ex-boyfriend and his family, anyways. And I got them to bring me like a massive box of Maltesers because all of a sudden I just had this craving of Maltesers. So I think you will find you should bring chocolate if you love it because it won't hit the same. But they do sell is it Galaxy or is it it's Cadbury. They sell little Cadbury bars in Walmart and I have tried them and it does taste better than Hershey's, but it doesn't hit the same as our Cadbury's.
Yeah, and their galaxy is called Dove, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or something like that. So
Yeah.
actually the one bit of chocolate, like the only well, there's two ways. Two ways I find that I can get my kind of chocolate fix when I'm in America is either by eating M&Ms because I feel like they just kind of taste the same.
Yeah.
They're all right. I'd never eat M&Ms here, but when I'm away I'll eat M&Ms. Or the chocolate covered strawberry true fruit thingies. Not the
Ooh,
frozen ones, like the freeze dried ones.
I've never had them.
Chef's kiss. They're banging. I absolutely love them. They're really good.
Oh, I might have to try them next time we go out.
Yeah, so that's definitely something to try. I'm trying to think if there's any other sort of like home comforts. Another thing that I bring, which is an essential for me, but it's probably not going to be an essential for everybody, is my silky pillowcases. Because I've got long hair and it's been bleached. I'm trying to grow out the bleach at the minute, so it's all kind of back to brown. But my hair gets really dry at camp, especially if you're like going in the pool and stuff like that, and it gets so knotted and it just like snaps and breaks off. So my silky pillowcases try to protect my hair as much as possible whilst I'm at camp. So that's another little home comfort that I like to bring. Again, not essential, but I love them.
What I was gonna say is pictures. My first summer I didn't take any. Regretted it because like my co-counselor's bed looked so nice with all of our pictures next to it, and the kids would always ask about them. My second summer I took quite a few, and the kids loved like coming and sitting on my bed and asking questions. This summer I forgot to take any, and then obviously threw out the majority of the pictures that I'd left at camp the previous year. But yeah, I think it's such a nice touch, and if you're like a first timer, it gives you something to talk about with the kids.
The kids at my camp, well, all my kids that I've had in my bunks and stuff, they always bring photos from home as well. And like they'll honestly be wanting to decorate the wall with all their photos from home before they'll be wanting to unpack their copies and stuff. So it's nice as well if, like you were saying, like you can like look at their photos and be like, oh, who's this? Who's this? And then they can do the same with you. Again, oh wait, this has just made me think another. It's a me essential, probably not an essential for everybody. Fairy lights to go around that I always manage to get a bottom bunk. I always finesse the system, but fairy lights to kind of go around the top bit of the bottom bunk, just because the lighting isn't always great, and sometimes it's nice to just be able to like turn the little fairy lights on and just sit all cute and cozy in the corner and like chat to the kids and stuff. So that's another thing I like.
Liv, my co-counselor had them this year, and it honestly made such a difference in the bunk. Like it made it feel like quite homely. I agree with you on the fairy lights. And then another essential for inside the bunk, and I would say this is just a camp essential full stop, is speaker. It's so important to have a speaker because it motivates the kids to get up and get moving, and it gives something to put on during shower time. If you've got younger kids, it's good to be like, okay, what song do you want on? You'll put a song on and then say it's like 3 minutes long. They've got like 3 minutes when you're trying to get 12 kids showered in an hour and your 5 or 4 co-counselors showered as well. It's good to have like the motivation of this is your song, get showered in this song length of time. So I just think it's so good and it always uplifts the mood. Put positive music on, have music on that the girls enjoy or the boys enjoy.
Yeah, I think my kids quite a few of them brought their own speakers as well. Like they would bring, I don't know if do your kids have them at camp? They're kind of like iPods, but they're not iPods. They're like camp specific ones.
Oh, what are they called?
It's
Campfires.
Yeah, campfires, and like all they can do really on them is like play music. So some of them would bring them and then bring their own speakers. But obviously, like if their campfire thing dies, then like they can't use it. And obviously if you've got your own speaker as well, it's also good to use for like days off and stuff. And it doesn't have to be a massive speaker. Like I can almost guarantee every single summer I've been at camp, one of the Americans has brought one of their like massive, you know, like those big JBL ones, and they can like walk around with it on the shoulders like this. Like nearly every summer I think at least one American has brought one of them from home. So as an international, obviously you're not going to fill your suitcase with a massive speaker, but even just like a little one, like I've just got a tiny little JBL one. That's it. That is good to bring.
Yeah, well, I did have a JBL clip speaker until last summer. It was on my co-counselor's bed when they were
Mm.
playing music. And then, like, a few days later, I was like, where's my speaker? Like, we want to play music. And then one of my campers were like, oh, I saw it in, as they call it, the trash can. And I was like, oh, did you? Well, I've not seen it since, like, the last time we used it. And they were like, oh, yeah, I saw it in the trash can. I thought, oh, did you take it out? She was like, oh, no, I just, like, kind of left the bunk. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I'm a JBL clip speaker down.
That's brutal. I'd be gutted if I'd like lost mine in the bin or something and then just left it there. Like, what did they think it was doing in the bin? Like, why would it be there on purpose?
Oh, I don't know. She just said that she was just running through the bunk and she saw it in there and then just left it. And then that was it. R.I.P. JBL speaker.
I feel for you, I really do. Another kind of random bits and bobs type essential that I always bring is a thermal, like insulated water bottle. And I didn't actually bring it one my first summer at camp. Like I just had a plastic bottle. And like at camp, we do get given as staff like a Camp Echo water bottle, which is really nice. But they are just like plain plastic ones. And the heat on those hot summer days, like you can put like you could fill your bottle with ice cubes and a little bit of water to try and keep it cold, but if you've just got a plastic one, like that ice will melt like instantly, and then you're just going to be drinking like lukewarm water for the rest of the day. So my second summer, I think it was, or might have been my first, I'm pretty sure it was my second, on Amazon Prime Day in America, I just ordered like a thermos, trusty blue thermos water bottle, which I ordered on Amazon Prime Day, and never looked back. I remember filling it full of ice, and then the next morning I'd try to have a drink and it was still just full of ice. I was thinking that some of the ice would have melted into water and it hadn't. So then I actually ended up really thirsty, but it's good because it does the job.
That's it. I agree with water bottles. Every summer I've always just bought one out there, so I've spent like $20. And this summer I actually tried to take the one that I had for the previous year because I'd used it all year round. And somehow by the time I got to camp, it was mouldy. So I then had to go out and buy a new one. But I ended up, the water bottle that I bought last year, I like took travelling with me, bought stickers for every place I went when I travelled. And then when I was in Long Island, about to get in my Uber back to the airport to come home, I left it at the house that I was staying at. And then when I've just been there, I had a look for it, but it wasn't there. So good. It's going to be a new water bottle that I have to purchase next year at Target.
You're gonna have to get a new water bottle and you're gonna have to start a new sticker collection with your travels and stuff, won't you?
Yeah.
Water bottles, though, I feel like, again, right, we talked about Love Island in the last episode, just everything about camps relating back to Love Island, but you know when you watch them and they walk around and they've just constantly got a hold of their water bottles, or they're just like chewing on them, or they're like just like this with their water bottles all the time. That is me. Like having my water bottle in my hands at all times is some sort of weird like comfort blanket for me. I've just constantly got it in my hands, which is good. But
If you have yours, it makes the kids have theirs as well, which is good. I'm guilty for never taking a water bottle out with us and then complaining of a headache. I know.
that's
I know.
bad. See, like lead by example, but I bring my water bottle and the kids seem to think that because I've got my water bottle, they then don't need to bring theirs, so it just becomes a communal whole bunk water bottle and it's not mine, it belongs to the whole bunk by that point.
That's so funny. Moving away from like home comforts and stuff and going back to clothing and the weather also. Something that I didn't realise I would need as much as what I do is leggings or like a pair of like sweatpants. Just because during orientation, if you're in like the New York, the Pennsylvania area, it gets so cold during orientation. Luckily, this summer it was boiling hot and we actually like couldn't breathe. But previous summers, it's always rained, it's been really dull, it's been like freezing cold. And the people that haven't brought them because they think it's going to be such warm weather, it's like a major regret. So when we go to Middletown Mall, it's what everybody has to buy because it's so cold.
That honestly was me my first summer. I didn't bring enough hoodies, and I just wasn't thinking about it. I think I brought like one. I have this like bright green sweatshirt that I brought, and I had like a white zip up, and that was it. And like I just ended up, I was like, oh my God, like I'm wearing these on a night and they're getting kind of gross because it's freezing cold, but then we're all running around playing basketball, and then I'm ended up like sweating. But then they're getting gross, but then I can't put it in the wash because I'm gonna need it again. It's kind of disgusting. So I ended up buying more when I got there. And then yeah, same with you. I think I brought leggings my first summer, but I didn't bring any like long pajama bottoms, and it was freezing some nights. Like during orientation, it does genuinely get so cold, and although like it's maybe 10 degrees, and if I'm at home, 10 degrees is shorts weather. 10 degrees on a night in New York is freezing cold. So yeah, definitely bring some like long pajama pants or leggings or and a few hoodies, 100%.
I think also you've mentioned that you can wear like normal clothing quite a lot of camp, can't
Mm.
you?
Hmm.
Like so with us it's all day staff shirts, then you have shower hour, and then afterwards you can wear just like your normal clothes. It's
Yeah.
so important to bring like appropriate camp clothing, because I know there's been so many times where I've like went to pick clothes off the shelf and then I've been like, oh, my belly's out if I'm wearing a tank top. So it's so important. I always just have like, again, just a comfortable pair of shorts to put on, and then like even just like a long sized, an oversized shirt to put on, or like just a normal t-shirt. Sometimes they don't really mind if a little bit of skin showing, but
Mhm.
obviously it's what you feel comfortable in, and it's what's like an appropriate being a staff member.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, ours is the same as yours, where you can kind of like, you have to wear staff shirts during the day and then on a night you can like wear whatever pretty much. But yeah, bringing like appropriate clothing to wear from a night, you've really got to, considering you're packing for like up to 3, maybe even 4 months worth in like one suitcase, you've really got to be versatile with the stuff you bring. So like a few like oversized t-shirts for a night, that's like what I pretty much live in, like oversized t-shirts, cycle shorts and my Birks. That's like my nighttime fit religiously. Um but then also you have your camp appropriate stuff, but then also it's good to bring a few like nicer outfits. I mean, it's fine, like obviously when you get there, like everybody kind of shares clothes, and you can share clothes with your kids, share clothes with your co-counselors, like my kids take my clothes and stuff like that. But it's good to have a few kind of nicer outfits. Like I wouldn't really say America on a whole is super super dressy. Like if you go into a bar or something like that, you don't need to be like dressed up to the nines like you're going clubbing, but it's nice to have like denim shorts or like a few nicer sort of tank tops. And for boys, maybe, I don't know, a little fancy, a little holiday shirt or something.
I agree. And also, I don't know if your camp does this, but we have like a banquet towards the end of the summer.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's either this. I think it's the second off last night,
Hmm.
and the kids get all dressed up for it. So like they'll go to the meal in like their favorite Tyler Hill top, and then they'll go
Hmm.
back to the bunk and they'll get changed into their banquet outfits. And it's always important to take like a nice little summery dress or like a nice
Hmm.
top, which is obviously appropriate, and some denim shorts for banquet. Just so you can get dressed up, because it's a party for you and a celebration for you as well as the kids.
Yeah, we have two banquets because our camps, it's like one big 7 week session, or the kids can do the 4 week or 3 week session. So we do like one at the end of the 4 weeks for the 4 weekers that are leaving, and then one at the end of the 3 week session for the full 7 weekers. And usually what happens is one banquet, the kids will decide, all right, we're dressing up. So like the 4 week session banquet, they'll wear like dresses, they'll wear like denim shorts and like skirts and stuff. And then it gets to like the end of the 3 week slash full 7 week session banquet, and they're like, right, we're going pajamas. And they'll all like wear their pajamas to dinner and to banquet. So we have like one nice dressy one, and then we'll have one usually where the girls will just wear their pajamas.
The CITs usually, I can't remember if they did it this year actually, but what they'll do is like out of bed sheets they'll make like a makeshift dress,
No
and
way.
they all do it, yeah, and they all stand in front of the air lake and get pictures. It's so cute. I love
That's
it. I
so
think it's great.
cute. That's amazing. I love that.
Another important one is bathing suits. So
Oh
my
yeah.
first summer, I took like plain black, like Speedo, like proper bathing suits, and then got to camp and everyone had like really pretty, like floral, nice designed bathing suits, and there was me in like an all black bathing suit because I didn't think I was allowed to. But it's so important to pack an appropriate bathing suit. Like I think I pack 3 or 4 appropriate, but make sure they're nice, because don't do a me and only take like an all black swimsuit and then everyone else has nice swimsuits.
Yeah, the girls have to wear like either a tankini and bottoms or a full like one piece. Pretty much all of them will wear like a full one piece. They're not allowed to wear bikinis at camp. So what they'll do is, I was exactly the same as you. My first summer, I was like, all right, bring like full, like more swimming style, like full on swimming costumes. And then I got there and like obviously I had the 10th graders, so like they're like what 14, 15. They've got the most bikini-ish swimming costumes they can probably get. Like they've got the most cutouts on the side, or like the whole back's like strappy, or it's like really low, like scoop back. It's still a one piece, it's still a swimming costume, but it's just like as bikini-ish as they can possibly get. So then I was like, oh, when I realised like I didn't have to be wearing like a big massive one. Like obviously wear whatever you're comfortable in, but then I say as well, like you, afterwards I was like, oh well, I'll buy a few like nicer patterned ones, or it's fine if it's got like a strappy back rather than like all caged in. So yeah, swimsuits are a big one, and bring something nicer.
I'm going to let you into a little secret,
Mm.
that it's not just the 10th graders that wear bathing suits like that. It's also the youngest division on camp that wear bathing suits like that. I could not believe my eyes when the girls were walking out, and it's like all of their stomachs practically shown, but there's like a thin strap down the middle that covers their belly button, which means that they're not wearing a bikini, they're wearing like a full swimsuit. It is wild out there.
You gotta respect the hustle though. Like they're playing by the rules, but they're bending them as much as possible. Like I fully respect the hustle.
And another one is like themed outfits. So for instance, like if you have like sports day, making sure that you've got like a nice jersey, maybe a jersey that matches your camp colours, maybe having an outfit of your camp colours. So my camp is blue and white, so it's always good to pack something like for that. If your camp does Olympics the way that my camp does, is like they split up into teams. I think there's red. Oh, I should remember these. There's red, yellow, orange maybe. Oh, this is really bad of me. But anyways, having like an outfit that you can piece together quickly, that's like got a colour in, but don't panic about themed outfits, because your kids come with so much stuff. Your co-counsellors have so much stuff. You'll always be sharing.
Yeah. I found with like the theme days and stuff, like we got sent a list of like what theme days there would be before we got to camp, so like you could bring stuff and you could be prepared. But like you said, you can borrow stuff from your co-counselors if you don't have room, or you can borrow stuff from your kids, or a lot of the time like people will just like for 4th of July for example, they can go to Walmart and they'll just have like the most outrageous American, like the most America like tank top things you can think of, or like they've got like the headbands, and there's just like little bits of accessories you can buy if you don't have room to bring anything. And also again, like you were saying with like Olympics, different colour wars, we do blue and white for Olympics, which are the camp colours, and college week it'll depend on what colleges they pick, but it could be like green, yellow, red, blue, purple, orange. And you don't have to bring a top for every single colour under the rainbow, but if you can maybe have like one top that's like green, which you would be happy to wear during college week, but also you can just like wear on an evening, like we said about bringing clothes that are versatile, that is really, really helpful.
Just don't overpack for the themes, because I did that in my first summer and then ended up not packing enough for travelling. And then I had all this wasted clothes that I never actually ended up wearing because I shared. So just make sure you don't overpack for themed outfits.
And I think rounding it off, my last two sort of essentials, which Freya mentioned one of them actually on Instagram, which is to bring an eye mask, which I did bring my first 2 summers, but this summer I think I lost it or forgot it. I don't know what happened to it, but I don't know if your cabin has curtains or blinds or anything, but mine definitely doesn't. And it depends obviously on your bed placement and the placement of the cabin, but the sun literally, like my bed would go along here and the sun literally like would just rise and just shine straight through. So if you're a very light sleeper, then if you can bring an eye mask, that's a good idea. And then earplugs as well. Like I need earplugs, especially for like after camp as well. Like I did a lot of like long Greyhound bus journeys, and earplugs were my best friend when I was actually trying to sleep.
I find that this summer I actually put like noise cancelling headphones on because I didn't have earplugs. I don't really like having things right in my ear. That's why I don't like
Yeah.
my AirPods. I don't know why I've got them. But I found that like some nights when I just couldn't fall asleep because I could hear like noises of the AC and stuff, I would put the noise cancelling headphones just like on my head without anything on, and it would kind of block out that sound. So I totally agree with having something for you, especially when you're traveling and stuff as well.
Do you have AC in your bunks?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my god, that's so amazing. We don't get we don't have AC in our bunks. We have like, you know, those like big like box fans.
yeah.
So we just have box fans. So you can't sleep because you can hear the AC. We can't sleep because all we can hear is the box fan like rattling on the floor all night.
No, that's the good thing though. But like not the summer just gone, the summer before that, our AC broke,
Oh,
and every time like camp maintenance would come in, they'd be like, "It's not broke, it's fine." But then on the night time, it would drip next to my bed, and then it would make this
oh.
horrendous rattling noise. And it would. I'm a really light sleeper at camp because I'm always like listening out for the kids. Like if one of them
Mhm.
get up out of bed. So this for like about 3 or 4 nights, I'm not even joking yet. The AC kept me up, and it got to the point where I went to my division leader and I said to Tammy, I was like, they need to fix that AC, or else you're gonna have a very angry summer if she misses out on one more night's sleep. And then it ended up getting fixed.
Amen.
It meant to that.
We've got some good handymen or
Yeah,
handywomen around camp coming to
that's
fix
it.
it. Yeah. But we'll round it up there for another episode. We've talked about a lot of things that we pack away with us to go to camp. I think we should probably make another episode on, rather than things that we bring with us, like things that we actually buy when we're there. Because there's a lot of things like certain toiletries, egg crate. I buy my little bath mat rug thing as well. So we'll make a part 2 for this little packing series about things that we would suggest buying over there if you can. And when this episode goes out, we're just going to be a few days away from New Year. So if you're listening to this after New Year, then Happy New Year. If you're listening to this before the New Year, then Happy New Year in advance. And yeah, we hope everybody has enjoyed this episode, and we can't wait for the real countdown of camp to start once we hit January 2025.